Hey, Doc, what was that you were smoking in the lab? It looked like a cigarette, but it wasn't lit.
Oh, it's an electronic cigarette. I designed it myself. Pretty neat, huh?
Electronic cigarette.
Yep, a liquid in the filter that turns into vapor, and you inhale the microparticles.
So that was vapor.
I'd actually rather be smoking normal cigarettes, but not in that room. The smoke would wreck the precision equipment in there, ruin all its wiring. But the vapor is just steam. It doesn't contain tar or anything like that. So I can smoke it in the lab with no worries.
Nice.
Want to try one?
Nah, I'll stick with cigars.
Yeah, but...
I don't like imitations. The real thing's always better.
Okay. But you know, sooner or later, smoking's going to become very unfashionable across the world. It hurts you and those around you. Electronic cigarettes might not seem so bad then.
Yeah, when that happens, I'll think about it. You said your dad was involved in the Manhattan Project, right?
Yeah?
And you think that's why you can't walk?
I don't know. Actually, you know, probably not. So far, nobody's found evidence that exposure to radiation in parents causes genetic defects in children, except for those exposed in the womb. Epidemiologically speaking, anyway.
That's the conclusion of the Atomic Bomb Casualty Commission.
Right. The ABCC commenced its study immediately after the war, and it's still ongoing.
Even now, 30 years later.
The effects of radiation exposure last a long time. I'm guessing it'll be another 10 years before we get a real verdict on whether it affects genes. Granted, it's the most massive study anybody's ever done. But that's really all it is, a study. The ABCC brought in bomb victims and ran tests on them, but they didn't treat them.
Really? Them too, huh?
At any rate, that's what my father made me believe when I was growing up.
Maybe it was tough for your dad to explain. Ever think of that?
Yeah, maybe. But this is my problem now, Snake. I have to face the nukes head on, whether I like it or not. My creations are being used for the wrong purposes. The onus is on me to stop it somehow. Help me, Snake. Hey, as long as I'm here at Mother Base, why not assign me to the R&D team? You could use a guy like me.
Glad to have you on board. I'm sure Kaz is, too.
Once I've got the necessary materials and design specs together, I should be able to start building you that bipedal weapon platform. Nothing would make me happier than for my research to help put a stop to Peace Walker.
Doc, I'm starting to sense your feelings about nukes are a little different from your colleagues.
How do you mean?
Your little chat with Coldman back there.
I told you my father worked on the Manhattan Project, right? You're familiar with it?
The basics, yeah. It was the project that kicked off the nuclear age.
That's right. Some of the finest minds of the 20th century, including multiple Nobel Prize winners, worked on it. They spent over $2 billion, and that's in 1940s money. It culminated in the successful nuclear test at Alamogordo on July 16th, 1945.
And the first use in combat a few weeks later. Doc?
I can't walk.
What?
My spine isn't shaped like everybody else's. I can't move my lower body, so I've never taken a single step, not since I was born.
What's that got to do with your dad being in the Manhattan Project?
As a result of his research, my father was exposed to high doses of radiation. It can't be a coincidence that my chromosomes are messed up. That's why I didn't want for these nukes to be another sword of Damocles. I wanted to give them a real purpose, to be a deterrent against war.
Doc.
And Coldman, we have to stop him, whatever it takes.
There's a river in the mountains north of the village. You'll see a water pipe running across that's got a walkway you can use as a bridge. I guess they built it to carry water from the hydroelectric plant. To get there, though, you gotta get past the barricade north of the prison.
Got it.
El Basilisco supposedly lives in the gorge up there, so be careful you don't get distracted and fall in the river.
The Basilisco?
Not the big monster I saw. I mean the real Basilisco.
A real one? The legendary king of snakes?
More like a lizard, I guess. It walks on top of the river.
A lizard that walks on water?
Man, you should see it. It's not that big, though. Only about 1 bada long.
Pretty good size for a lizard.
Yeah, but not nearly as big as a dinosaur.
So there's a real basilisco that lives in the river?
I'm only saying I heard stories from people who said they saw it. But I know lots of places to find it in Nicaragua. Do you want to go have a look?
I don't have time for sightseeing.
You don't like lizards?
It's not that. I just think snakes taste better.
Who said anything about taste?
How about you? You like them?
Not that way. They do look kind of like dinosaurs, though. You don't think that's cool?
They're both reptiles, yeah. But there's a big difference size-wise.
I'll bet there are still big ones around somewhere. They say mammals multiplied and ate up their eggs. But they can't all be gone. They've gotta exist somewhere out there.
Dinosaur eggs, huh?
And animals are always evolving, right? Maybe they evolved so much, they don't even look like dinosaurs anymore.
Then you can't really call them dinosaurs, can you?
I guess not. Yeah, you're right. Dinosaurs have gotta be big. Irasu has more than one crater, because he's erupted so many times. I heard most of them filled up with rainwater and became lakes.
Calderas, huh?
Calderas. Yeah, something like that. Hey, I got an idea. When you get to the lake, can you keep an eye out for weird animals for me? People all over the world tell stories about giant monsters living in lakes. Nessie in Loch Ness, Nahuelito in Argentina, Ogopogo in Canada. I can hardly keep track of them all. They say that all these sightings prove dinosaurs do still exist.
But crater lakes are isolated. They're not connected to rivers.
Yeah, but you know Mokele Mumbembe in the Congo River? He can walk on land. So maybe they moved there from some other lake.
You sure know a lot about UMAs.
There used to be a guy in El Frente who was a hunter. He taught me lots of things. He even said he once went to a place called Isla del Monstruo.
A hunter on Isla del Monstruo.
Someday, I'm gonna be a hunter and catch some rare animals. Right after we restore peace to our land, of course. Did you ever hear of the Loch Ness Monster?
Now that one I know. Pretty much everyone's heard of old Nessie.
Great, so I don't have to explain. I think she's a long-lost dinosaur. Don't you?
Sure. Why not?
One of the compas gave me a book about it, with photos. It looks exactly like the plesiosaur.
Then why does it only live in Loch Ness?
Well, it probably got cut off from the ocean. Back when Loch Ness was part of the ocean, some plesiosaurs became trapped there when the climate changed. There weren't any mammals there, so no natural predators. Today's Nessie is descended from those plesiosaurs.
Then wouldn't it make sense for there to be monsters in other lakes with similar climates?
Exactly. That's why there's been giant monster sightings in a bunch of other places. Like Nahuelito and Ogopogo. I don't know if there's one in Irasu too, but I know there's definitely something living in Lago Cosipolca.
You mentioned the Nahuelito. What is it?
It's a plesiosaur that lives in Lago Nahuel Huapi in Argentina. It's described a little differently, but I'm sure it's basically the same creature as Nessie. Except for one thing.
What?
Well, according to one theory, it's the result of a nuclear test back in the 50s.
What? There's no record of a nuclear test in Argentina in the 50s.
At the time, the president, General Juan Perón, was pushing hard to industrialize the country. I wouldn't be surprised if he conducted a top-secret nuclear test before he was overthrown in a coup.
Sounds a little far-fetched to me.
You think? Then maybe Nahuelito really is a dinosaur.
No, I didn't say that.
I mean, it's really pretty obvious.
Wait a minute.
Thanks for clearing that up, boss.
Dinosaur. What about the Ogopogo? And what kind of name is that anyway?
Ogopogo's a monster that lives in Okanagan Lake in Canada. I guess it's an Indian name because it's a legend passed down by the Indians.
A legend, huh? Well, then it's probably not.
There's written records of it too. The first one was in 1872, and there's been more sightings since the start of the 20th century. You starting to get into UMAs too, Snake?
Yeah, maybe.
UMA hunting. Now that's a real man's adventure. What do you say, Snake? After Nicaragua's at peace again, you want to go exploring together?
Well, we'll see. Might not be such a bad life.
Mokele Mumbembe lives in the Congo River. There's nothing mysterious about it, though. It's already been confirmed as a real living dinosaur. The local people know all about it, and when they were shown a drawing of a brontosaurus, every one of them said it was Mokele Mumbembe. When peace returns to Nicaragua, I want to go to the Congo myself.
Oh, the revolutionary movement in the Congo ended in failure, you know.
Yeah, I know. I wish we could do something to help, but Africa's awfully far away.
Africa.
Wonder if El Che ever saw Mokele Mumbembe. I wonder if I will.
Well, best to take care of business here before daydreaming about Africa.
Yeah, I guess you're right.